Welcome back, tankers. Today I want to be looking at the Leopard 1 and the Concept 5, and we're going to discuss which one is better. Now, I know what you're thinking before you start angrily typing. A few months ago, this would have been a ridiculous question. Of course the Leopard 1 was the better tank. It was better in almost every single way. But in patch 2.0, Wargaming decided to finally buff the Concept 5. This is after allowing it to anguish since its release. And now I believe these two tanks are perhaps the best high-skill medium tanks in World of Tanks. And their playstyles are just slightly different, even though they're very similar. So instead of asking which one of these tanks is better, I'm actually going to ask the real question today. Which playstyle is actually better for you? Now, at a distance, these tanks do look similar. They're fast, no armor, high skill ceiling, huge carry potential. And they both rely on positioning, map awareness, player decision making. But once you actually play them, you realize they don't really feel the same. And I believe once you've mastered just one of these tanks, you're really only about halfway to mastering the other. Now, starting with the Concept 5, this thing is about raw, explosive speed at the start of a match. It has good acceleration, very high top speed. It gets to positions faster than most medium tanks. And I would say this tank in particular excels at early spotting, beating enemy tanks to the key positions, and creating pressure before the enemy team is ever in position. The Concept 5 rewards aggressive openings, and if you know the map, there's no reason you can't have nearly 500 damage within the first 30 to 60 seconds of a match. The Concept 5, look, this thing, you know, the wheels allow you to glide across most terrain with ease. It's got like these smooth edges. This looks like a tank that was made by a nation that just values precision and is used to building these large vehicles. Like, watch this. Even on the move, this gun is so smooth, you can easily just hit a tank. Look at that. Look at the bloom on the gun. Doesn't even move. You could balance a cup of tea on the barrel while firing on the move and not spill a drop. The only thing I can say about this tank is the nation that designed it perhaps forgot to design a tank that didn't turn like a battleship. I don't know. They should have asked the French how to make a wheeled vehicle, I guess. Now, if the Concept 5 is about raw, just explosive forward and back, the Leopard 1 is mobility done with finesse. It's still very fast. It has smooth handling. It has a very high velocity round that makes it very easy to hit moving targets at a distance. Honestly, the Leopard just feels more precise, more controlled. It's easier to kind of reposition in like the middle of a fight if you're kind of fighting around a corner. If you're done with Concept 5, a little bit clunky when you try to just make those small adjustments, but not so much with the Leopard. It is so smooth. Now, the Leopard, it doesn't panic. It plans. It stalks its prey. Now, the enemy knows there's danger. They just don't know where you're at yet. This tank feels like it was engineered by a nation that treats manufacturing like a religion and historically has no issues showing up at its neighbors uninvited. In short, it's like saying the Concept 5 is like this sprinter on caffeine, but the Leopard 1 is like a professional race driver. Now, the Concept 5 gun, it leaves emotional damage when you shoot somebody. It hits hard. 460 alpha. It has strong penetration with 425 millimeters of premium with its pin with its premium round. It's excellent for trading. This gun rewards timing. Really, it's like a peekaboo gameplay. It's, you know, it's aggression with a plan. When you hit somebody with Concept 5, you don't just remove their HP, you remove confidence. Now, the Leopard gun is famous for a reason. Insane accuracy, ridiculous shell velocity, and high reliable rate of DPM that just lets you keep farming damage. The Leopard doesn't need highlight moments. You just keep shooting. And suddenly, post-battle, the screen says 5,000 damage, and you don't even know how it happened. Now, let's talk about survivability. Regardless if you're talking about the Leopard 1 or the Concept 5, these tanks survive by dodge, duck, and disappear. Neither of these tanks rely on bouncing shells, let's be honest. They survive by not being where the enemy is aiming. When you really compare these two tanks, there's a few things that stand out to me. One, DPM. Leopard has more of it, quite simply. But when you had the Concept 5 hits for 460, you wouldn't think 40 alpha, how big of a deal is that? Let me tell you, it matters a lot. While the Leopard may consistently hit below 400, it's not really all that uncommon for the Concept to hit over 500. And when you're just hitting harder, even if it's like 40 damage on average, harder, those numbers add up very quickly. And let me tell you, when you hit somebody for like 480 or something, it hurts. Now, the Leopard can hit hard too. It's absolutely no slouch. But when it comes to gun handling, honestly, the Concept 5 is just a tad bit better. But there's something to really pay attention to, and it's that stationary camo. And it's not just the fact that the Leopard has higher stationary camo, it's actually got a much shorter silhouette than the Concept 5. When I'm in the Concept 5, I never have the confidence after I fire that I have not been spotted. Regardless if I think I'm double bushed or not, I always just back down. Now, it has excellent reverse speed to do that, but when I'm in the Leopard 1, I can have confidence that I'm still remained invisible to the enemy and just continue that high rate of fire and just punish them every time they make a mistake. Now, as for your equipment loadout, I have two loadouts for the Leopard. Now, I have my Vision build, which is just a rammer, CVS, and vents. But the other build, which I honestly use more often, is rammer with the experimental mobility system and the vents. I actually find like that rotation mechanism that's built in with the mobility system actually really helps out the Leopard when I need to get my sights quickly on a tank. Now, when we're talking about field mods, and this is a personal preference of mine, I go left, right, right, and I actually leave the fourth option blank. And I'll explain in just a moment. And then I take left for the added engine power because you don't really need more aim speed, in my opinion. But let's just say you're more of a brawler type player with your Leopard, then you might would consider an extra 3% on your DPM. However, if you're a player that really likes to snipe, I might would consider going with the right option for basically 5% more accuracy. But honestly, I play this thing somewhere in between, and I just prefer to leave it blank. That's what works best for me. Now, with the Concept, I actually really only ever run one build on it, and that's Vent CVS Rammer. And a lot of times I go ahead and use the directive for concealment because this thing does suffer from getting spotted sometimes, and I find the best way to prevent that is spot them first. Now, as far as field mods, I almost forgot. This one, right, and then I left the last one empty because, well, honestly, I didn't want to decrease the aiming speed because I really think this is a peekaboo, you pull out, you shoot, you back up kind of tank, and I didn't want to lose the engine power because that is so important for this vehicle. That being said, if I had to choose one, I would probably go with a little bit of added engine power, but it's up to you. Experiment, see what works for you best. Now, both these tanks have a high skill ceiling, require fast decision, punish enemy player mistakes. They're perfect for players who can really trust their instincts. Now, my personal favorite is the Concept 5. It complements my playstyle really well. I really like that peek and shoot kind of gameplay. But the Leopard 1, honestly, is more forgiving. It's extremely consistent to play. And neither tank really replaces the other. They're absolute carry machines late in the match. If any tank is alive, the enemy team could be in for a very rough time. And if you master one of these tanks, you're already halfway to mastering the other. The difference is not the tank, it's how you play it. And honestly, both these tanks are a blast. So if you like the video, consider giving it a like. And if you're just feeling generous and want to help me out, consider subscribing to the channel. I try to do weekly videos, and hopefully I see you in some battles. I don't run anonymized, so if you see me, say hi.